Have you ever stepped outside after dark, turned on your porch light, and suddenly spotted a rat racing across your yard? Perhaps you've heard scratching sounds coming from inside the walls, discovered torn bags in your garage, or noticed unexplained holes appearing throughout your garden. For most people, the first reaction is to think about poison, traps, or hiring an expensive pest control service. But what if some of the best protection has been growing in gardens all along? There are certain plants that naturally produce powerful aromas and chemical compounds that rats strongly dislike. Some plants overwhelm a rodent's highly sensitive sense of smell, others interfere with the way they navigate their environment, and some simply make an area feel uncomfortable and unsafe. Even better, many of these plants are beautiful, fragrant, and remarkably easy to grow. Rather than depending entirely on harsh chemicals and artificial deterrents, you can create a natural protective barrier around your property using attractive plants that quietly help discourage rodents from settling nearby. And before this video ends, one of these surprising plants may completely change the way you think about protecting your home and garden. 1. Marigolds. Marigolds are famous for their brilliant orange and golden yellow blooms, but beneath their cheerful appearance lies an unexpectedly powerful natural defense against pests. These colorful flowers release a distinctive scent that rats, along with many insects, find extremely unpleasant. While most gardeners plant marigolds simply for their beauty, experienced growers have relied on them for generations as companion plants that help shield gardens and outdoor spaces from unwanted visitors. Their protective qualities come from naturally occurring compounds found throughout the flowers and foliage. These compounds produce a strong aroma that can irritate and confuse rodents. Rats depend heavily on their sense of smell for survival. They use scent trails to locate food sources, identify safe travel routes, and detect potential dangers. When marigolds are planted throughout a yard or garden, their fragrance can disrupt this system and make rodents feel less confident exploring the area. French marigolds are often considered particularly effective because they tend to produce a stronger fragrance than many other varieties. Gardeners frequently plant them around vegetable gardens, compost areas, pathways, garbage storage locations, and raised beds where rodents are known to travel. Once the plants begin flowering heavily, they create a natural scented boundary around vulnerable areas. Another reason marigolds remain so popular is their simplicity. They tolerate heat exceptionally well, grow in a wide range of soil conditions, and continue blooming for months with very little attention. Even novice gardeners can easily establish dense, colorful borders from seed. As the plants grow thicker and fuller, the strength of their scent naturally increases as well. Rats instinctively seek dark, quiet, and hidden locations where they can move undetected. Marigolds help change that environment completely. Their bright blossoms make spaces feel more open and active, while the steady presence of bees and butterflies creates an atmosphere that cautious rodents often prefer to avoid. Interestingly, marigold fragrance becomes even more noticeable during warm, sunny afternoons. Higher temperatures encourage the leaves and flowers to release additional aromatic compounds, allowing the scent to travel farther across the landscape. While people may only notice the fragrance occasionally, rats possess extremely sensitive noses, making the smell much more intense from their perspective. Some gardeners intentionally plant thick rows of marigolds around chicken coops, compost piles, storage sheds, and trash collection areas because these locations naturally attract rodents. Although marigolds are unlikely to eliminate a severe infestation by themselves, they can gradually make these areas significantly less appealing. Another hidden benefit is that marigolds encourage cleaner, more organized landscapes. Rodents thrive in cluttered environments filled with weeds, neglected corners, and piles of debris. Bright, well-maintained flower beds naturally reduce the types of conditions that rats often prefer. Historically, marigolds have been associated with natural pest management for centuries. Long before modern pesticides were available, people observed that certain plants seemed to protect nearby crops through their own natural characteristics. Marigolds became one of the most recognized examples of this relationship between plants and protection. Perhaps that is what makes them so remarkable. They demonstrate that effective pest control does not always have to involve harsh chemicals or industrial solutions. Sometimes one of the most powerful defenses can be hidden within one of the most vibrant flowers in the garden. 2. Daffodils. Most people associate daffodils with springtime sunshine, cheerful yellow blooms, and colorful garden displays. However, beneath those bright flowers lies one of the most surprisingly effective rodent-resistant plants available for home landscapes. Rats naturally avoid daffodils because the plant contains compounds that many animals instinctively recognize as harmful. Unlike aromatic herbs that primarily rely on scent to deter rodents, daffodils provide a different type of protection. Rats dislike not only their fragrance but also the bulbs themselves. Rodents generally avoid chewing on the bulbs or digging around them, making daffodils particularly useful near foundations, garden borders, pathways, fences, and locations where rats may be tempted to tunnel or establish nests. One of the most important compounds found in daffodils is an alkaloid known as lecherine. This naturally occurring chemical can be toxic if consumed, and many animals instinctively avoid plants that contain it. Rats quickly learn that areas filled with daffodils are not ideal places to explore or inhabit. Another significant advantage of daffodils is their seasonal timing. They emerge very early in the year, often before many other garden plants have begun active growth. This allows them to establish a protective presence around a property long before many summer pests become active. Daffodils are also incredibly easy to maintain. Once planted, the bulbs typically return year after year with minimal effort. Over time, they multiply underground and gradually create larger, denser clusters. This means your natural barrier becomes more extensive and effective with each passing season, while simultaneously enhancing the beauty of your landscape. Many homeowners strategically position daffodils around garages, sheds, mailbox areas, walkways, and fence lines because rats frequently travel along these sheltered routes. The flowers quietly help create environments that rodents tend to avoid. Another fascinating characteristic of daffodils is how well they complement other rodent-deterring plants. Imagine a garden filled with lavender, rosemary, mint, marigolds, and blooming daffodils. To people, such a space feels peaceful, colorful, and inviting. To rats, however, it can become a confusing and uncomfortable environment filled with scents and signals they dislike. Some gardeners also report a reduction in digging activity within flower beds that contain large numbers of daffodil bulbs. Since rodents generally avoid disturbing or chewing near the bulbs, underground activity often decreases naturally in those areas. Of course, daffodils alone cannot solve a major rat problem if food, water, and shelter remain readily available elsewhere. Garbage should still be properly secured, fallen fruit should be removed promptly, and clutter should be cleaned regularly. However, incorporating the right plants can significantly reduce the overall attractiveness of your property to rodents. Ultimately, that is the true principle behind natural pest management. It is not always about eliminating pests directly. Often, the goal is to create an environment where they no longer feel comfortable, secure, or welcome. Daffodils achieve exactly that while adding even more beauty and seasonal color to the landscape. 3. Mint. Mint has long earned a reputation as one of the most effective natural plants for helping keep rats away from homes and gardens. While people often appreciate its crisp, refreshing scent, rodents have a completely different reaction. Rats possess an exceptionally sensitive sense of smell, and the strong menthol-rich aroma produced by mint can be overwhelming for them. This is one of the reasons peppermint oil remains a popular ingredient in many natural rodent repellent products. One of mint's greatest strengths is its vigorous growth habit. Once established, it spreads rapidly and creates a thick layer of aromatic foliage wherever it is planted. Whether positioned near patios, garages, sheds, foundations, garden beds, or fence lines, mint continuously releases its fragrance into both the surrounding air and soil. Since rats depend heavily on scent to locate food sources and navigate safely through their environment, areas dominated by strong mint aromas can become confusing and uncomfortable for them. Among the different varieties, peppermint is often regarded as the most effective because of its particularly high menthol concentration. This produces an intense cooling scent that rodents strongly dislike. Spearmint can also provide deterrent benefits, although its fragrance tends to be milder. Some gardeners enhance the effect by crushing fresh leaves near entry points, storage areas, or known rodent pathways. Others dry mint leaves and place them indoors near windows, doorways, basements, or dark corners where rodents may occasionally appear. Another reason mint remains a favorite among homeowners is its ease of cultivation. It thrives in containers, raised beds, and open garden soil, while adapting well to partial shade and a variety of climate conditions. It also rebounds quickly after pruning. Interestingly, Trimming the plant often releases an even stronger burst of fragrance, increasing its effectiveness as a natural deterrent. However, mint's rapid growth can also become a challenge. The plant spreads aggressively through underground runners and can quickly dominate large areas if left unchecked. For this reason, many gardeners prefer growing mint in containers or designated spaces where its expansion can be controlled more easily. Beyond its pest-deterring properties, mint offers numerous additional benefits. It attracts pollinators such as bees and butterflies, adds lush greenery to outdoor spaces, and is generally safe around children and pets when grown naturally. Its leaves can be harvested for teas, desserts, refreshing beverages, homemade extracts, and countless culinary uses, making it one of the most versatile herbs in the garden. Planting mint around compost bins, garbage storage areas, wood piles, chicken coops, and shaded corners where rodents often seek shelter may gradually help reduce signs of rat activity. While mint alone is unlikely to solve a major infestation, it can establish a strong natural barrier that many rodents prefer not to cross. One particularly interesting characteristic of mint is the speed at which rodents seem to react to its scent. Rats naturally prefer environments filled with familiar, subtle odors that help them feel secure. When powerful mint aromas dominate an area, that sense of comfort is disrupted almost immediately. Many gardeners observe that rodents often hesitate around heavily scented peppermint zones because the fragrance interferes with their normal navigation behavior. Some homeowners even create continuous mint borders along patios, walkways, and garden edges. During warm summer weather, the natural oils inside the leaves become more active, allowing the fragrance to spread even farther throughout the yard. While people often find the scent invigorating and pleasant, rodents typically view it as overpowering and unpleasant. Mint also performs well after rainfall because its aromatic oils remain stored within the leaves. Once sunshine returns, the fragrance quickly intensifies again. This makes mint more dependable than many temporary repellents that lose effectiveness after wet weather. Many experienced gardeners combine mint with rosemary, lavender, or sage to create multiple layers of scent protection around their property. Together, these strong herbal fragrances can make certain areas highly unattractive to rodents, while creating a wonderfully aromatic garden environment for people. Perhaps the most appealing thing about mint is that it demonstrates how natural pest control can also enhance the beauty and usefulness of a landscape. Instead of relying entirely on traps or chemical products, homeowners can grow a lush, fragrant herb that quietly helps protect their property while adding texture, color, and practical value to the garden. 4. Lavender. Lavender is celebrated worldwide for its soothing fragrance and beautiful purple blooms, yet rodents experience its scent in a completely different way than humans do. What people often find relaxing, comforting, and pleasant can feel overwhelmingly strong and irritating to rats. Because of its powerful aroma, lavender has become one of the most respected ornamental plants for naturally discouraging rodents from entering gardens and outdoor living spaces. Rats depend heavily on scent for virtually every aspect of their survival. They use smell to locate food, identify travel routes, communicate with one another, and recognize safe hiding places. Lavender interferes with many of these behaviors. The plant releases aromatic oils into the air that mask familiar scents and create an environment that feels confusing and stressful for rodents. One reason lavender remains so popular among gardeners is its ability to combine ornamental beauty with practical protection. Unlike many traditional pest control methods, lavender enhances the appearance of the landscape while quietly helping defend it. Its silvery green foliage and striking purple flowers create elegant borders around patios, pathways, fences, entrances, and garden beds. To people, these areas feel welcoming and tranquil. To rodents, they can feel overwhelming and undesirable. English lavender is often considered one of the best choices for rodent deterrents, although many fragrant lavender varieties can provide similar benefits. In general, stronger-smelling plants tend to be more effective. Warm temperatures and full sun encourage lavender to produce more essential oils, which explains why its fragrance becomes especially noticeable during the hottest periods of summer. Lavender thrives in sunny locations with well-drained soil and, once established, becomes remarkably drought-tolerant. Its low-maintenance nature makes it an excellent choice for homeowners seeking long-term protection without constant upkeep. Many gardeners place lavender near foundations, windows, sheds, patios, and garden borders where rodents are most likely to travel. Some also dry the flowers and use them indoors in basements, closets, and storage rooms to extend the protective scent barrier inside the home. Another major advantage of lavender is its ability to attract beneficial pollinators while discouraging unwanted pests. Bees and butterflies are drawn to its flowers, helping support nearby plants and improve overall garden health. Meanwhile, rodents and certain insect pests often prefer to keep their distance. Many people are surprised to learn that rodents frequently dislike pleasant-smelling plants more than foul odors. Lavender perfectly illustrates this contrast. The same scent associated with calmness, luxury, and relaxation can feel highly irritating to animals with extremely sensitive noses. This difference in perception is one of the reasons lavender can be so effective. As lavender plants mature and form dense borders, they can serve as a natural protective boundary around vulnerable areas of the property. Although lavender alone is unlikely to eliminate a severe rat problem, it can significantly reduce how attractive your yard feels to rodents searching for food and shelter. Lavender also influences the visual character of a landscape. Rats generally prefer dark, cluttered areas where they can move unnoticed. Lavender's upright structure and vibrant blooms create a more open, visible environment that naturally discourages rodents from lingering nearby. As breezes move through flowering lavender, the fragrance spreads throughout the garden. During peak bloom periods, entire sections of the landscape can become filled with its distinctive aroma. For people, this creates a relaxing and enjoyable outdoor experience. For rats, it creates an environment they would rather avoid altogether. Perhaps that is why lavender continues to be one of the most beloved protective plants in gardening. It demonstrates that natural pest control can be elegant, fragrant, visually stunning, and remarkably practical all at the same time. 5. Rosemary. Rosemary is widely regarded as one of the most powerful herbs for naturally discouraging rats from approaching homes and gardens. Its woody stems and slender needle-like leaves contain aromatic oils that release a rich, earthy fragrance into the surrounding air. While many people find this scent pleasant and comforting, rodents experience it very differently. To rats, rosemary's aroma can seem intense, irritating, and overwhelming. One of rosemary's greatest advantages is its versatility. It serves not only as a popular culinary herb used in countless recipes, but also as a highly effective protective plant within the landscape. Homeowners can grow rosemary for cooking while simultaneously helping reduce the likelihood of rodents settling nearby. Few plants combine beauty, practicality, and natural pest resistance as successfully. Rats are naturally drawn to sheltered locations that offer darkness, concealment, and familiar scents. Rosemary changes those conditions dramatically. The plant releases strong aromatic compounds that interfere with a rodent's ability to use scent effectively, making certain pathways and hiding places feel less comfortable and secure. This can be particularly beneficial around sheds, garages, compost areas, outdoor kitchens, and storage spaces where rodents often search for shelter. Another often overlooked benefit is rosemary's physical structure. Mature plants develop dense, woody growth that creates a firmer, less inviting environment than tall weeds or soft grasses. Rather than providing hiding spots, rosemary tends to reduce the types of cover that rats prefer when nesting or moving around. Once established, rosemary is remarkably resilient. It tolerates dry conditions extremely well and flourishes in sunny locations with excellent drainage. In warmer climates, it can grow into substantial evergreen shrubs that continue producing fragrance throughout the year. In colder regions, many gardeners cultivate rosemary in containers so it can be moved indoors during winter. The plant's scent becomes especially noticeable when the leaves are touched, pruned, or warmed by direct sunlight. This is why many homeowners plant rosemary near entrances, pathways, patios, and windows where people naturally brush against it. Even light contact releases additional aromatic oils into the air. Some gardeners also place freshly cut rosemary branches inside garages, cabinets, and storage rooms to strengthen indoor scent protection. In addition to helping discourage rodents, rosemary may also reduce the presence of certain insects and garden pests. At the same time, its flowers attract bees and other pollinators that benefit nearby fruits, vegetables, and flowering plants, contributing to a healthier overall ecosystem. There is something uniquely satisfying about cultivating a plant that enhances roasted dishes while simultaneously discouraging rodents. Rosemary serves as a reminder that effective pest management does not always require harsh chemicals or costly products. Sometimes nature provides its own practical solutions. As rosemary ages and matures, it often becomes even more effective. Older plants develop thicker branches and produce stronger fragrance across a wider area. During hot summer afternoons, the aromatic oils become more active, filling outdoor spaces with a scent that humans appreciate but rodents tend to avoid. Many gardeners pair rosemary with lavender, mint, or sage to create layered aromatic barriers around their homes. Together, these overlapping fragrances can make specific areas highly unappealing to rodents, while creating an exceptionally pleasant atmosphere for people. Rosemary also contributes significant visual appeal to the landscape. Whether trimmed into neat borders, displayed in decorative containers, or allowed to develop naturally into shrubs, it adds texture, greenery, and year-round interest. In many cases, a rodent deterrent planting strategy actually improves the overall appearance of the yard. Historically, rosemary has long been associated with protection and purification. Across numerous cultures, it has symbolized safety, remembrance, and cleansing. Long before modern repellents existed, people planted rosemary near their homes for both practical and symbolic reasons. Perhaps that enduring history explains why rosemary remains such a treasured plant today. It protects, beautifies, perfumes, nourishes, and supports pollinators all at the same time, making it one of the most valuable natural defense plants a homeowner can add to their landscape. 6. Sage. Sage is one of those remarkable plants that often provides far more benefits than most people realize. Recognized for its soft silver-green foliage and rich herbal fragrance, sage has been treasured for centuries in culinary traditions, natural remedies, and household protection practices. What many homeowners may not know, however, is that rats strongly dislike the scent this plant produces. The distinctive fragrance comes from aromatic oils concentrated within the leaves. Whenever sunlight warms the foliage or someone brushes against the plant, these oils are released more intensely into the air. Because rats rely heavily on scent trails to move safely through their environment, sage can quickly interfere with their ability to navigate familiar routes. Areas surrounded by sage often feel confusing and uncomfortable to rodents. One of the reasons sage is so effective is its versatility. It can be planted beside walkways, around patios, near foundations, alongside garden beds, or in decorative containers positioned close to doors and windows. Unlike aggressively spreading herbs such as mint, sage grows in a more compact and controlled manner, making it easier to place strategically around locations that may be vulnerable to rodent activity. Sage flourishes in sunny areas with well-drained soil and becomes highly drought-tolerant once established. It requires very little maintenance, making it an excellent choice for homeowners seeking long-term protection without constant upkeep. Even during periods of dry weather, sage continues producing its distinctive fragrance and contributing to the protective atmosphere around the property. Its textured foliage also brings considerable visual appeal to the landscape. The silvery leaves contrast beautifully with darker green plants and brightly colored flowers, adding elegance and structure to garden designs. While quietly helping discourage rodents, sage simultaneously enhances the overall appearance of outdoor spaces. Many gardeners harvest sage leaves and dry them for indoor use. Dried bundles are often placed in basements, attics, garages, pantry shelves, storage rooms, or other areas where rodents occasionally appear. Fresh leaves can also be crushed by hand to release a stronger burst of aromatic oils when temporary reinforcement is desired. Another valuable characteristic of sage is its ability to support pollinators while helping deter pests. Bees and butterflies are naturally attracted to its flowers, benefiting nearby plants and contributing to a healthier ecosystem. Meanwhile, rodents and certain insects generally avoid the plant's strong herbal scent. This balance is one reason so many gardeners prefer plant-based solutions over relying entirely on chemical treatments. Throughout history, sage has carried significant symbolic meaning as well. In many cultures, it represented cleansing, protection, and purification. Ancient traditions frequently incorporated sage into rituals intended to clear negative energy from homes and sacred spaces. Interestingly, modern gardeners still use sage as a protective plant today, although its role is now more focused on discouraging pests than warding off spirits. To rats, sage creates an environment that feels unfamiliar and stressful. While it may not completely eliminate a rodent problem on its own, Incorporating sage into the landscape adds another valuable layer of natural protection that can make a property considerably less inviting. One of the most impressive features of sage is the durability of its fragrance. Even after periods of rain or cooler weather, the aromatic oils remain stored within the leaves. As soon as sunshine returns and warms the plant, the familiar herbal scent quickly becomes noticeable again. Many homeowners intentionally position sage near entrances, patios, storage areas, pathways, and building edges because rodents often travel along walls and hidden roots. When these pathways become saturated with strong fragrance, rats may begin avoiding them altogether. Sage also changes the overall character of a garden. Rodents generally prefer overgrown locations with plenty of cover where they can move unnoticed. Sage contributes to a more open, textured, and organized landscape that feels less secure for nesting and travel. Perhaps that is what makes sage such a valuable addition to any property. It provides natural protection while also offering beauty, fragrance, culinary value, pollinator support, and a connection to centuries of gardening tradition. 7. Onion and garlic. Few natural plant aromas are as effective at discouraging rats as the sharp, pungent scents produced by onions and garlic. Both plants contain sulfur-based compounds that release powerful odors capable of irritating rodents almost immediately. While these flavors are treasured in kitchens around the world, rats typically find the smell overwhelming and highly unpleasant. Garlic is particularly potent because its aromatic oils become much stronger when cloves are crushed, sliced, or otherwise disturbed. Once released, these compounds spread through the surrounding air and soil, creating conditions that rodents generally prefer to avoid. Since rats depend heavily on scent to locate food, identify safe pathways, and detect potential threats, strong garlic aromas can interfere with their sense of comfort and orientation. Onions function in a similar way. Their characteristic odor intensifies whenever they are cut or damaged, which explains why some people place sliced onions near areas prone to rodent activity as a temporary deterrent. However, cultivating onions directly in the garden provides a much more dependable and long-lasting form of protection. One of the greatest advantages of onions and garlic is their practicality. Rather than growing ornamental plants solely for pest management, gardeners can cultivate productive food crops that also contribute to protecting the property. This makes them especially valuable in smaller gardens where every plant is expected to serve multiple purposes. Garlic works particularly well around raised beds, garden borders, and pathways because its upright growth habit occupies very little space while still producing a noticeable aromatic barrier. Onions can be used in much the same way, especially near vegetables, berries, or fruit crops that rodents frequently target. Another interesting benefit is that onions and garlic may discourage more than just rats. Their sulfur-rich aroma can also help deter certain insects, rabbits, and other common garden pests, making them excellent companion plants in a variety of growing situations. Homeowners with pets should still exercise caution. Although perfectly safe while growing in the garden, onions and garlic can be harmful to dogs and cats if consumed in significant amounts. Careful placement is important in households with curious animals. Some gardeners also prepare homemade garlic sprays by soaking crushed cloves in water and applying the mixture around entry points, foundations, or problem areas. While the scent gradually fades over time, regular applications can strengthen the overall protective barrier surrounding the property. Rats naturally gravitate toward environments filled with subtle, familiar scents that help them feel secure. Strong-smelling plants like onions and garlic disrupt that sense of comfort. Their intense aromas overwhelm sensitive noses, interfere with scent trails, and make established travel routes feel far less appealing. As a result, rodents may gradually decide to search elsewhere for food and shelter. Garlic becomes especially powerful once damaged. The moment a clove is crushed or chopped, sulfur compounds are released rapidly into the surrounding air. Humans instantly recognize the aroma from cooking, but for rats, the smell can be almost intolerable. Many gardeners intentionally establish dense garlic borders around vulnerable crops. When combined with aromatic herbs such as rosemary, sage, mint, or lavender, garlic contributes to a layered fragrance barrier that rodents often find difficult to tolerate. Onions provide an additional benefit because their scent travels through both the air and the surrounding soil. Since rats frequently move through underground tunnels and concealed pathways around gardens, This pungent odor can make those roots increasingly uncomfortable over time. Another advantage is garlic's seasonal resilience. Garlic planted in autumn often continues developing through winter and emerges vigorously in early spring, providing protection during periods when many other plants remain dormant. Perhaps the most rewarding aspect of growing onions and garlic is knowing they serve two purposes simultaneously. While supplying fresh ingredients for the kitchen, they also work quietly every day to help protect the garden and surrounding property from unwanted rodent activity.